All right, Algebra 1B students, welcome to part 2 of lesson 8.5, where we are continuing our discussion on factoring quadratic equations. We are going to be on page 513, right after we do a couple more foils in a warm-up problem to set up the little twist that we're going to put on to our factoring today. Warm-up problem 1, right here. Why don't you pause the video, take a look at these two warm-up problems, and then start the video again. We'll talk about what we should get when we FOIL these out. But just to refresh our memory, pause the video, take a look at those two, please. Okay, when we FOIL the first problem, our firsts are x times x, which gives us x squared. Outside is x times plus 7. Inside is x times minus 3. That gives me a total of plus 4x, plus 7x, minus 3x. And my last, negative 3 times positive 7 gives me a negative 21. Okay? Problem number 2, if I FOIL my first, that's x squared. My outside is minus 7x. My inside is plus 3x. That gives me a minus 4x, because negative 7 plus 3 is still negative 4. And my last, again, is 3 times negative 7, which is minus 21. Okay? What I need you to notice here is that in our problem, one of our binomial factors was x plus something, and the other was x minus something, and our answer ended up with a negative number at the end. Okay? So anytime you see a negative number at the end of your quadratic as your c value or your constant value, you know that when you factor, it needs to be x plus something times x minus something. All right, and then we will look at an example of what that's going to look like. Now, we're going to factor this trinomial, that quadratic right there, x squared plus 2x minus 15. So just like in our last video, we want to find two numbers that multiply to be negative 15. Notice, please, that I'm now doing negative 15. I need two numbers to multiply to negative 15 and add up to be a positive 2. So once again, we are going to list out the factors of negative 15 now. And we know that to get to a negative number, I need one positive multiplied by one negative number. So we have a lot more options here now, because we could do positive 1 and negative 15 to give us a sum of negative 14. Or we could do negative 1 and positive 15 to give us a sum of positive 14. So now, 1 and 15 actually has two different options, as does 3 and 5, which are our next two possibilities. Positive 3 and negative 5, then our middle term here would end up being a negative 2. So negative 3 and positive 5 is what we are looking for. That gives me a middle term of a positive 2x, a plus 2x, which I see right there. Okay? So we're listing out our factors, and now that we know it's negative 3 and positive 5, I'm ready to write my factored form. I'm going to say x, and I'm going to put it with a negative 3. It's x plus negative 3, which is x minus 3, times by x plus positive 5, x plus 5. That is the factored form of x squared plus 2x minus 15. All right? I would like you to try each one of these two problems. Got it, number 3, on the very bottom of page 513, writing the factors form of those two polynomials. Please notice both of these numbers here are negatives. Negative 36 and negative 21. So be careful about your negatives. So list out your factors and find the ones that sum up to, in this case, positive 9, and in this case, negative 4. Pause the video, take a look at those two. When you're done, come back and we will factor those so you can check your work. Okay, letter A, we should end up with n plus 12 times n minus 3. Positive 12 and negative 3 gives me, add up to be 9, multiply to be negative 36. In letter B, we should have C plus 3 times C minus 7. Very similar to our warm-up problems there, actually. C plus 3 and C minus 7. All right. The only other thing we need to worry about is some word problems where we apply factoring trinomials. Okay? Here, we're going to apply these trinomials to the area of a rectangle. Now, we know that the area of a rectangle, area is equal to base times height or length times width or whatever you want. So, I am going to take this trinomial, that quadratic there, and factor it into two pieces multiplied by each other, like length times width. Okay? So x squared minus 2x minus 35. I need factors of 35, negative 35. Factors of negative 35. And the first ones I could do would be 1 and negative 35. Or I could do 35 and negative 1. I don't think either one of those is going to work. Negative 34 or positive 34, not what I want. I could do 7 and negative 5. That'll give me a positive 2. Or I could do negative 7 and positive 5. There it is. I want a negative 2. That's the guy right there. So now that I have found my two factors that add up to be negative 2, I know that my factors here are x minus 7 times x plus 5. The only question for us now is, what does that mean in the context of this problem? They wanted the possible dimensions of the rectangle. So I would say possible dimensions x minus 7 would be length or the width, and x plus 5 must be the other one. And then, once I have that, I am done. I have done my factoring. I have put it back in the context of my problem, and that is all good. If you have any questions about anything I just did, please make a note to ask me in class tomorrow. Otherwise, I will see you in class. Have a wonderful night.